94.1 Base Party Station. Deshaun Watson, you know him? Meredith, do you know that name right there? Does that name ring a bell?
Yes, it does.
Guess what? He's still not relaxed from his massages.
Because
apparently another assault lawsuit has now been filed.
Holy crap.
From his time back in the day. But it's with the Texans, and it's still the same MO. You know, she comes out for the massage. He's naked. He's asking for stuff that he's not supposed to be getting, whatever. Now, this is what the allegation is stating. The new lawsuit was filed in Houston on Monday. Lawsuit is similar to the nearly 24 women that basically laid out the same story. She invited Watson to her apartment to have a seat in her living room while she finished getting ready. She said she kept speaking with Watson from the bathroom as she was putting on her makeup, but he stopped responding to her.
Okay.
Woman then said that she came out of the bathroom and found Watson completely naked on her bed, laying face down on his stomach.
Laying face down?
Oh, okay. Yeah, while Jane Doe stood there in shock, he turned his head and aggressively insisted that she massage him, gesturing to his rear.
All right, nice butt massage.
Hold on, so this was a massage and not a date?
This was a massage.
She was setting up her makeup and stuff before.
No, she was setting up the whole. I mean, listen,
the whole thing.
I guess listen, man. I ain't write the story. Okay, so Jane Doe, in the allegation, asked if Watson meant he wanted her to massage his back. But Watson indicated it was his buttocks that he wanted massaged.
I've had
and
that
some
done.
people get that done.
Yeah,
the
that's
glute
nice.
thing
his gluteus
is
maximus.
It's a good like pressure point.
Yes,
like
it feels good
in there, like it's a pressure release in back pain or whatever. And it does. They got their their thumbs in there or whatever. It's like
especially on the top area.
Jane Doe was at this point in the encounter terrified. That's lawyer talk.
Terrified.
Of course she is.
It could have been as weird as hell, but I mean, if anybody ain't got a weapon.
Was he lifting it up?
Probably be a naked dude. So Jane Doe said she was terrified. She was in her small apartment with a much larger man. She was still reeling from Watson's outburst and aggression on the phone, apparently. She thus tried to appease him by rubbing his back rather than his bootay. And Watson began insisting again that she focus on his glutes. Seemingly frustrated that Doe would only rub his back, Watson then turned over, revealing his blood flow. And he continued to demand that she massage him, gesturing from his knees to his groin. He's like, this area is where I need focus. And she froze in fear, as it states, unsure of how to refuse his advances without jeopardizing her safety. Confused and scared, she reiterated that this wasn't that type of thing. She is not a masseuse.
Okay, good.
The woman said that Watson then grabbed her leg, partially disrobed her. She was assaulted and touched in ways that I'm not going to say on the air. Watson allegedly sexually assaulted that woman for several minutes before she eventually escaped. That's what the entire allegation is pretty much purporting.
And all these other allegations were very similar
to
from other women.
Over 2 dozen.
2 dozen?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the man is the most tense massage getter ever.
Is he a good football player?
He used to be. He used to be.
Before all of this, he was fire.
Yeah. You know what? Shame
then he
on
started getting hurt
Yeah.
because he wasn't getting massages.
Yeah.
You got to shame on the Cleveland Browns because they paid this guy $230 million after all these allegations, and he hasn't lived up to the hype at all.
Yeah. Now, did you see the video of Tyreek Hill, just to keep it NFL?
I did, yes.
Now, how do you feel about it?
I don't know how I feel about it because on one hand, they asked him to get out. They shouldn't have used so much aggressive force. And I guess I don't know how that's supposed to go.
Yeah, I mean, he kept on putting up his window, which is something that I'm like, all right, that's kind of a D move right there. But
it's not
still,
just a D move. It's a dangerous.
You're not compliant.
It's a dangerous move for police officers because
you don't know
some people on the other side of that glass are getting a gun. Some people on that other side are trying to hide evidence. Some people on the other side are just doing something that they don't want the officer to see, which makes the officer nervous And nervous officers tend to
Get aggressive.
Get aggressive. So, I
Right.
mean, it's like if I tell you an order and you tell me, hey, man, don't be knocking on my glass. Like it's like it was really he was so combative that he was asking for it.
Yeah.
And you hate to say that somebody's asking to be like, manhandled. But if I don't know what you got behind that glass,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they do
and
that
he,
every
and
day.
he
Those
was
are some
basically
dark-
just in there trying to call Drew Rosenhaus.
Yeah, and those were dark tints too. You don't see what's going on in there, and as a police officer, you want to be safe. So
And this is the main reason why they say routine traffic stops aren't routine, because some people don't want to go. They got like probation, they got certain issues, they got something in the car that they know is going. So they're like, I'm not getting out this car, or this officer ain't getting this.
Right.
And so they tend to, make a mistake and do that. So the officer is like, hey, keep the window down so I can see you while I'm looking at your license. And he's like, hey, man,
kept
get up
on
off my
rolling it
car. He
up.
kept rolling it back up. It's like, man, now you got to get out the car. He's like, well, hold up.
well,
Because he's trying to call his agent to say, hey, come get me, because he's big dogging him. And the officer is like, no, get out of the car now. And the other dude's like, I'll bust your window.
Yeah.
So that's what got his response. And,
Okay.
so I mean, people like different NFL correspondents are like were saying, hey, this is just another aggressive force situation. But when you look at that entire minute, you realize he was kind of the provocateur. Just like on social media, when people are like, I know my rights, you're not allowed to. And I mean, and I get it. Sometimes you feel like you're being, kind of violated.
Yeah.
But it tends to go badly when you make it go worse.
Well, you're checking the cops.
Like if you've done nothing and you just like, listen, here's my information, keep it like. But one officer, kind of like a trainee person who was like training people on how to do traffic stops, was like, when you pull up and you get pulled over, if you let all of your, especially if you have 10, if you let all of your windows down, then the officers can see through the car. And, and that's just probably if you haven't done anything.
Right, exactly.
But if you're just trying to make it as easy as possible for the officer to see clearly, let down all the windows,
you're
so now
good.
they can see in, and then that de-escalates it a little bit. And then you have all of your stuff, which you should probably keep right above your billfold, your little visor or whatever. That helps also. So these are just ways that it can de-escalate a situation.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the police officers definitely used excessive force. But to continue with what you're saying, if Tyreek just complied and just did all the right things, he wouldn't have had that problem, and he wouldn't have been in handcuffs. Let's be real here. But the cops saying that he's gonna bust their window, and then did you see the video of like the cop like kicking him down to the ground?
I did see that.
Yeah, that's excessive. So as much as of a D that Tyreek Hill is, you still don't need to use that much force, especially when somebody's handcuffed.
The police department was defending what happened.
They put it out. They said in full transparency, we're putting out this full body cam so we can show you what
happened,
what transpired and what led up to it. Now, I mean, I'm not saying that they're excused for their stuff, but it graduates from that level.
It is a learning lesson.
Because we saw him crying and thought, wow, this is another type of affront towards a celebrity being treated badly. But then you see what led up to it, and we like, well,
you didn't help the situation.
now it's foul on both sides because we're like, attacking. Now it's not like something that you want to see somebody go through, but you also just you can't provoke the police. Like you could have got away a lot faster if they were going to let you go. If they, if you would have stopped trying to big dog it and just be like, oh man, I was driving crazy because I'm trying to get to the game.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, whatever. He was like, just give me my ticket, do your job. I got to go. He's like, no, now they're going to, at worst, they're going to, at the beginning, going to take their time now.
Right,
because
exactly.
now you being a douche.
You're being rude.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it could have been a much better way to do that, and he didn't do it right.
You get much further with sugar than salt.
You also don't know what type of person you're going to deal with, not only in the vehicle, what kind of cop you're going to deal with.
Somebody just texted, what happened to what about the other player? The other player was Calais Campbell, who is one of the big defensive players for the Dolphins, and I guess he came over to intervene, and I think he ended up in cuffs.
Oh, wow.
As well.
Okay.
And I mean, I know, put it this way, back when third, I remember this specifically, when Third Leg Greg used to work for us, and he was parking behind Full Moon Saloon, and I guess you wasn't supposed to be parking back there or something, and so the officers saw it and kind of, it was very weird, but put it this way. As the program director of the station, I'm walking back to my car, and I see my night guy in cuffs. So I come over, and I see 2 officers dealing with the dude, dealing with Greg. So they're handling whatever's going on. So I walk up to another officer who isn't doing anything.
He's just there.
And I'm like, hey, can I ask you a question? He's like, back away. And I was like, I'm not involved in this, but I work with him, and I need to know, like, what do I need to know to get him out? He's like, sir, back away. And I was like, okay. And so I back across the street, and then he comes back by me, and I was like, I just need to ask, like, is he going to jail or something? Because I'm going to be the one that has to bail him out. I'm his boss. And he says, I told you, turn around. And puts me in cuffs.
Hey.
And so now I'm on the police car next to Greg in cuffs.
For asking a question.
And Greg looks at me and says, what'd you do? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm trying to find out what you did. And he's like, bro, they saw me backing out the car. They told me don't park back here. And I was like, I told him I was at the club and I had to get something out the back, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So long story short, they ended up letting us go like 10 minutes later, but we sitting there cuffed next to each other.
That's embarrassing.
So asking questions somehow gets you in trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I was pissed because I'm like, bro, like, this is not right for everybody seeing me out here in cuffs.
Yeah, well, that was my point, because you also don't know what kind of cop you're dealing with. I mean, not everybody's the same. Out of the 813, I have almost 20 years in law enforcement. What you just said about rolling all your windows down and complying, most of the time it goes smoothly. We train in de-escalation now more than ever. I have seen where simply speaking to someone instead of yelling at them works far better in most situations.
Yeah, you don't feel like you're being tried. An officer's a human too.
That's a good tip.
I mean, you know, but it's basically all based on safety. I was always told by my law enforcement friends that all they want to do is get home. Yeah. So ultimately, they got to do their job.
Right.
But if you can put them in a situation where they're like, hey, they might even let you go. You let all the windows down. Yeah. They're like, man, this dude is really trying to make me feel at ease. Now we talking to each other like humans. Oh, you play football? Yeah. Oh, damn, you Tyreek. Okay. Bro, slow down.
Yeah,
okay, you're a block away from the stadium. Can you slow down, please? Thank you, officer. Pull off. Boom. Everything is good.
You said something very important there. Like, officers are people too, and I feel like a lot of people forget about that too. So just think about their safety too while you're getting pulled over, and I guarantee you, if you comply, you're not gonna have those problems.
Yeah.
Now, nobody should be kicking and slapping and doing all that other stuff, but it's like, man, once people start getting disrespectful, you know, that it just a jerk side comes out of folks.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, and they feel like they got to defend each other, which is just stupid. So I'm glad they put the tape out, but, you know, Tyreek, man, come on, man. First of all, you got to drive better.
Right.
And
right down the street.
Secondly, you got to talk better. I'm just saying. And officer, keep your knees to yourself.
Orlando and the Freak Show.
Thank you for watching this video. For all things wild, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel.